In this class, we will discuss about study designs and bioavailability protocol. Basically, when you are going for clinical trials, when you are going to compare the bioequivalence of one drug with another drug, when you want to compare the bioequivalence and bioavailability of an existing drug and a new drug, when you want to compare the bioavailability of two marketed drugs, you need study designs and you need bioavailability protocol. So basically there are four different type of study designs. Number one is complete randomized design. So in this randomized design, all treatments are randomly allocated among all experimental subjects. So label all the subjects with the number of digit, for example 1 to 20, then select one number or select one patient randomly and give the treatment to it. So this is a complete randomized design. Advantage of this design is basically easy, simple to analyze, and n number of patients and treatments can be allocated in this type of design. That is randomized block design. So this design is similar to that of complete randomized design, but the subjects are segregated into different groups or into different blocks basing on their similarities. For example, out of 20 patients, say 15 are male and 5 are female, then 15 male will be in one block and 5 female will be in other block. Or in case out of 20 patients or 20 subjects, 10 may be hypertensive patients and 10 may be like diabetic patients, then one block will be the hypertensive block and one block will be the diabetic block, and the treatment is given depending on these blocks. Now the sample now the patient is selected randomly among this block. So this is called as randomized block design. So advantage of this method is precise results are being seen, and it's easy experimental setup, and statistical analysis is design is crossover design or carryover design. This study may involve several treatments or a single treatment evaluated at different endpoints of the time. Administration of two or more treatments, one after the other in a specified order in same block or group of patients, is called as crossover design. The problem in the crossover design is a crossover effect, that is risk of distortion in results due to carryover effect, that is residual effect from previous treatment. To prevent this effect, we need to wait for the washout period. Washout period generally lasts for 10 half-lives. So if you continue the next treatment after waiting for a washout period, then the chances of carryover effect get reduced. Advantage of this method is good precision is seen when compared to other two methods, and few subjects can be utilized for complete experimental setup. So these two are the advantages of crossover design or carryover design. So out of three designs which we have seen, complete randomized design, randomized block design and carryover design, these are the continuous trails as person, subject or the volunteer remains on the treatment from starting stage to the end stage. In Latin square design, each subject receives each treatment during course of experiment. This design is also called as two-factor design, namely one factor is a subject and the other factor is the treatment, with one observation in each cell. So in Latin square design, rows represent subjects and column represents treatment. So the uses of the Latin square design are minimized inter-subject variability. Inter-subject variability is minimized. Carryover effect is minimized. Variation due to time effect is minimized. And this method is basically useful in pilot studies and small scale experiments. A Latin square design is a two-factor design. So these are the different types, four types of designs. Namely, we have seen complete random design, randomized block design, then crossover design, and Latin square design. Next, we will see bioequivalence protocol. So the first point in bioequivalence protocol is title. Title of the study is very important. In title, you need two things. What is the name of the principal investigator and number of the project and the date of the project are very important, the title. Next, you have the objective of the study. You need to mention what is the objective of the study, what will be the outcomes and what is the importance of the study. So this is the second important point in the bioequivalence protocol. And the number third one is study design. So which design you are going to select among the four designs which we had discussed, which design you are going to select, and what is the drug product, and in the drug product what will be the test product and what will be the reference product. This should be very important in study design. next, what will be the dosage regimen given to the patient, and what will be the sample collection schedule, and what will be the housing, and what kind of food you are going to take, what is the food plan, fasting plan, meal schedule, and analytical method which you are going to use after collection of the sample. So these information should be mentioned in the study design of the protocol. There should be, you should mention which design you are going to follow, you should mention what drug product you are going to give. In the drug product, you need to mention what is the test drug, what is the reference drug, then what will be the dosage regimen you will write over there, then what will be the sample collection schedule you will mention over there, and what will be the how will be the housing, what will be the fasting and meal schedule, and what analytical method is used to analyze these samples extracted should be mentioned carefully in study design. And phlebotomist over there, or the physician or the pharmacist who are working over there, if they want to collect the sample, if they want to give the food to the patient or to the particular subject, and if they want to give the drug, they should clearly follow this protocol. They should check the dosage regimen before giving the drug. They should check the sample collection time schedule given before collecting the sample. They should check the meal plan before giving the meal to them, and they should check the analytical method and equipment used before using it, whether it's mentioned in the protocol or not, or what instrument or what method is being mentioned. And the next important thing is in study population. So what kind of study population we are going to use, who will be the subjects, what will be the selection criteria of the subjects, what will be the medical history of the subjects, and physical examination and laboratory tests. So these are very important in study protocol. So you will write who will be the subjects, you will write the selection criteria for the subject, you will take all the past medical history and you will mention in the protocol, and you will examine them physically, and then you will conduct all essential laboratory tests and you will mention over there. So next important is inclusion and exclusion criteria. So which subjects you want to include in your studies, and what kind of subjects or subjects with what traits you want to exclude in the study should be clearly mentioned in the study. And the last thing is restrictions and prohibitions. What restrictions and what prohibitions should be observed while selecting a study population should be clearly mentioned. And the next important point in protocol is clinical procedures. What clinical procedures you are going to you're going to use, what kind of dose, what drug administration you're going to give, or what kind of biological sampling schedule is there, and what will be the activity of the subject. So these are the clinical procedures which you are going to protocol. Is what different facilities are given there. Then data analysis, how analytical validation procedures are going to take place, what analytical validation procedures should be followed, and statistical treatment of the data. So when you get the data, what kind of statistical treatment you should be giving to that particular data in order to get the precise and accurate results. Then drug accountability and appendices, if there are any appendices. So this is the protocol of bioequivalence studies. Title, study objective, what kind of study design you are going to use, study population, clinical procedures going to be used, ethical considerations, facilities, data analysis, drug accountability, and appendixes. So these are the important points to be considered in bioequivalence protocol.